the advent of technology, there's been a sea change in the creative industries. Now you can produce your movies, your games, your television shows anywhere in the world and stream them to audiences wherever they might be. The vision is that one of those hubs where that content is produced for the world could be Abu Dhabi. You're listening to the Business Extra podcast coming from The National. I'm Mustafa Al-Rawi, Assistant Editor-in-Chief. With me is my co-host, Kelsey Warner. Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, Mustafa.
Before we start, if you enjoy this show, please do subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio content. Kelsey, we're talking about the creative industries, creativity specifically, and how we can build it here.
Sure. So earlier this month, Abu Dhabi announced it will invest $6 billion over the next 5 years in cultural and creative industries. And with that would be opening the Yas Creative Hub later this year.
And that's on Yas Island, which is, one of the big, shiny developments that we have in the Emirate.
Home of Yas Mall, Ferrari World, and other such destinations. But sort of another, a bookend to the Saadiyat Cultural Hub, which in 2017 opened the Louvre Abu Dhabi, and in the next coming years plans to open Zayed National Museum, and the Guggenheim is also under this cultural plan. And just to ground us a little bit, in the last 5 years, Abu Dhabi has invested $2.3 billion in cultural and creative industries. So just a near trebling of its budget over the next 5 years. So to talk more about that, we spoke with 2454 CEO Michael Guerin about plans for the Yas Creative Hub. Here it is.
So specifically, we're talking about the project that is scheduled to be online by the end of this year, which is the Yas Creative Hub. It's been reported it's coming. It's supposed to be a place where talent can coagulate, making movies, making games. Do you want to give us a snapshot of where you are at the moment with the project?
Yes, I was actually visiting yesterday, and it is definitely on schedule and happily on budget to open sometime in November. When I say open, that means that the first companies and organizations will begin to migrate into the Creative Hub. We'll be moving over 600 companies, many thousands of people into the Creative Hub. So this is not an overnight process. And while the building was a very complex planning and construction exercise, the migration is equally complex. And fortunately, when I came to 2454, I remained CEO of Image Nation and became also the CEO of 2454. I was very pleased to discover what a capable and talented staff we have managing this whole process. So we expect the migration will be as seamless and painless as the planning and construction. But I would say that it wouldn't be until mid next year that everybody who wanted to move and had planned to move into the campus will be able to do so.
So for the uninitiated, I'm going to kind of paint the scene. I mean, 2454 has been around for the last decade, and it's brought together media and creative companies in Abu Dhabi, in the Emirate. But on Yas Island itself, there's a new purpose-built campus, if you like, that's coming online, where not only media companies can relocate to be together in this sort of new state-of-the-art area, but also specifically the Yas Creative Hub is designed to encourage those industries that are perhaps becoming to the forefront of creativity, such as video gaming, for example. Those people that want to, build those products, create those products, will have the ideal scenario, the ideal conditions in which to do so. That's pretty much an accurate position of where we are, Michael.
You said it much better than I could.
We teed you up. All right. So if you can dig in, though, to who is going to be showing up at the Creative Hub. I mean, creativity in 2021 means something much different than what it meant even at the start of this century. So what sort of jobs will you be hiring for here? And what sort of content machine will they be feeding? We talked movies, we talked video games. What are the content demands you're seeing?
We are a facilitator. This is something that was never really well understood about Image Nation. We were always thought to be a production company because we caused a number of things to be produced and oversaw the production, much the way that Warner Brothers or Paramount oversees production, but they don't actually make anything. It's Steven Spielberg and Amblin Entertainment who produces the program that Warner's commissions. And the reason that we had to do that was because, candidly, the quality of content creation in this part of the world 10 years ago was mediocre at best. And what's changed is several things. First of all was the arrival of the OTT services, Netflix and Stars Play and others, which demonstrated that local content from places that we didn't even know produced things could be produced at a global standard. And prior to that, people accepted mediocre production values in exchange for cultural authenticity. But when these services arrived, those compromises were no longer acceptable. People wanted both. They wanted authenticity and world-class production. And so the early years of Image Nation was to teach people in this part of the world how that was achievable. And with Zinzana and with Justice and other projects, we finally were able to do that. And once we were able to do that, people came to us, whether it was NBC, Vox, Amazon, Netflix, Stars Play, to help them produce at that standard. And they were not really coming. Of course, they welcomed the financial support, but they really weren't coming as much for financial support as for our production expertise. And that really was the first game changer in the evolution of this industry, because now that we had companies coming here that wanted to produce, were funding production and demanding a high caliber of content creation, that was the magnet then to create jobs for people who could come here with the expectation that they could actually live in Abu Dhabi and the UAE and earn gainful employment. And for younger people, for the first time, our industry wasn't seen as a hobby, but it was seen as a path to a not only enjoyable life. I've been in this business 52 years, and I have to say that other than some organizational issues, there really hasn't been a time I haven't enjoyed myself. This is one of the most enjoyable industries that you can be in.
So you're a cinema guy. You're a longtime movie guy.
I've evolved the way that the industry is evolved.
So that's what I want to ask you. So the industry is at an inflection point now with the streaming wars heating up. Where are we going?
I started out, we were printing our newspaper on a flatbed hand-fed sheet. We were setting types with hot lead, with linotypes. Then we, went to offset printing. When I started, we had NBC, CBS, and ABC. That was it. There was no such thing as satellites. There were no such things as home video. This is an ever-evolving industry. This is not new. This is just the next phase.
So today here, 2021, people coming to Abu Dhabi, you're saying Abu Dhabi's ready to attract world-class Hollywood-level talent. What does that mean? Can you talk a little bit about what they're coming to work on?
Yeah, they're coming for many things. First of all, we have been one of only 2 jurisdictions in the world, the other being Iceland, who throughout the entire pandemic has been able to maintain production, over $100 million of film and television production, when every place else in the world is, shut down. It's why when Mission Impossible came here in January, February, the last scene they shot, we had 1,000 people on the set, and not a single COVID case. So this is a tough part of the world. And not only do we offer physical safety, but we also offer, safety in the quality of healthcare. And, we have 220 nationalities living here side by side. So we're a very tolerant society. This is just a great place, independent of the industry. They wanted the world's tallest building. They have the Burj Khalifa. They wanted a great airline. They have two of the world's greatest airlines, Etihad and Emirates. But what they couldn't have in a short period of time was an industry that mirrored Hollywood or Bollywood. And that's because we didn't have the talent, and we didn't have the infrastructure that trained and developed the talent that was in place around the world in an industry that in many places over 100 years old. So Barry Diller and Ari Emanuel and David Geffen famously started in the William Morris mailroom. But if you don't have the mailroom, you don't have you don't have William Morris, you don't have the mailroom. It's very hard for people to learn this industry the way that you need to learn it, because I remember we had somebody, I'm not mentioning names, who came to me soon after I arrived here in Abu Dhabi, and proudly and basically wanted money to produce a film. Which, even Steven Spielberg doesn't just get money to produce a film. It goes through a very rigorous process. And this person had only made like one short film. And when we got into a discussion about that this was not ready for prime time, and this is not the way our industry works, I was told, well, I won the prize for the best short film. And I looked at this person, I said, no, you didn't. You won the prize for the least worst film. And so we had to change a mindset about what this industry was about. You couldn't get away making a statement like that in Mumbai or London or New York. But here, people had no idea what our business was. So we needed to convince the leadership that there was no social promotion, that this is a meritocratic industry, and people had to earn their way. And I can proudly say that 60% of our organization is staffed by Emiratis, and we do not have a single one of those people who are there because they are Emirati. They're there because they're qualified for the jobs they have, and oh, by the way, they're Emiratis. So we are different from most of the jurisdictions in this region that have come to this industry late because they think that money is the answer, when in fact it's important, but it's not. It's the least important thing.
To that point about money being the least important element to the industry, if we talk about the mass, the critical mass that we're trying to create in Abu Dhabi, on Yas, for example, with the media hub, with the Yas Creative Hub, how do you incentivize people to be there? That it becomes more than just a real estate project or a race to get bums on seats, if you forgive the expression.
Exactly. In fact, it's quite the opposite, and I'll explain why in a moment. But I'll answer your first question first. So we have, because we are our mission is to build a robust ecosystem that eventually will become self-sustaining. We, Abu Dhabi, offer significant incentives for companies to come here and set up. So we subsidize rent, we subsidize payroll. We are exploring ways to help with the cost of education and housing, which is not cheap here. And then in addition to that's really to attract individuals and companies to attract film and television projects. We also have one of the best rebate systems in the world, offering a 30% rebate for all the money that's spent here in Abu Dhabi for production. And soon we'll also have state-of-the-art production facilities that will really complement the Creative Hub, and we'll be building virtual production studios, which is where the whole world is going in terms of production. So this now is a place that people can come to and live and work. The people who work all over the world, because this is very much a freelance industry, can make Abu Dhabi their home. Increasingly, people, the number of people who came to work on Mission Impossible would say, well, wait a minute, I could live here and go from here. So we're increasingly building this critical mass of talent. And then you add to that, because your other question, which I think is, a really critical question, is, our world is now the next phase, evolutionary phase, is the jump from linear to digital, which has been going on for now 20 plus years, but it's reaching an inflection point where things are becoming much more digital than physical. With the announcement that Unity, which powers 90% of the virtual reality and gaming engines, has made Abu Dhabi their headquarters, both for the entire MENA region and the entire continent of Africa, all the way down to South Africa. Ability to offer state-of-the-art digital services, in addition to all the other capabilities that we've been able to develop here, is what is transitioning Abu Dhabi from a regional hub to a global hub. And honestly, even me could not have dreamt that was possible 3 or 4 years ago.
I'm curious, you mentioned 600 companies at the top attracted to the Creative Hub by the end of this year or by mid next year. Can you name some of these companies you've attracted?
I would say, first of all, we have, I can't give you the exact number, but over 600 companies that are a part of the 2454 family that is moving from the Khalifa Park complex to the Creative Hub. That is really what I think has given Abu Dhabi the confidence to know that this not inexpensive project was not a build it, they will come effort. They're already here, and they're moving from Khalifa Park to Yas Island. What has happened really is that with that sort of critical mass, a lot of companies that have been eyeing Abu Dhabi and the UAE for a long time have said, okay, now is the time for us to come.
If I could ask, obviously we are in the Khalifa Park complex, and during 2020 in particular with the coronavirus, there were times when, very few people could work here in the office.
And I'm so glad you pointed that out, because, first of all, what are we doing now? We're doing this interview virtually. I have no idea where you are, and we're on Zoom. So, and yet, we're maybe having an even better interview than we might have if we were together in the same room, or certainly just as good, because we're not a commercial real estate company. But we're not here to maximize the profitability of the Creative Hub. We're here to maximize the value of the ecosystem to Abu Dhabi and the larger community here, because we obviously couldn't change the physical structure of the buildings when the pandemic hit. We could change everything inside. And so obviously there's no good time for a pandemic, but it hit just at the time that we could still transform the interiors And instead of building the offices of yesterday, we're building the offices of tomorrow. And so the way that we're maximizing the benefits to Abu Dhabi is to make space available to companies that they actually need to use. So you're paying rent, or the national's paying rent right now for a lot of unused spaces. We're offering to organizations the space that they know they absolutely need. And then almost like on an a la carte basis, we're offering a hot desk, conference rooms, screening rooms, other facilities that they only pay for when they use. And that has allowed us to bring a lot more companies than we could have accommodated if they had to sort of contract for space in the old-fashioned way. But it also demonstrates, talk is cheap. It demonstrates that we're not here to make money. We're here to make Abu Dhabi successful.
Michael Garin, Chief Executive of 2454, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Enjoyed the conversation.
Kelsey Warner, thanks so much.
Thank you.
That's it for today. If you enjoyed this show, please do subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio content. All that remains to thank our production team, Arthur Edison and Aisha Khan. Do join us again next time.